Welcome back.
Hey.
Look at Keegan over here. Get ready to turn on dark mode. We're here to talk working in IT, video games, tech, and the Iowa story. I'm one of your hosts,
Oh.
Taylor Floyd Muse.
And I'm Keegan Lassard. He's still ugly. Wait, it's directly this way, right?
Yeah, if you wanna pretend to look at me, I'll look this way, you look that way. But Keegan's green screen, he's a little bit too white for it, so it reflects onto him, and half of his hands disappear when he moves around. So we can't get rid of it. We need to buy him better lighting. Anyway,
It's the first. I mean, it's the first video, right?
yeah,
We get a little bit of a little like you get one kind of thing, then
I
fix
mean,
your shit.
we get one bad one, and
Well,
we're
I
gonna
mean,
waste it in the first episode. That's tough, dude. We are holding ourselves to a high standard. High, like it's
high.
off my green screen radius right now. That's
Yeah,
how
you
high.
can't even see my hand. It's so high.
All right. We got to keep in mind for our actual listeners still that they can't see us being ugly right now. But just
Right,
listeners,
right.
imagine peak ugly, but just online. Because
Or
we're
just
coming at people on YouTube now. And
yeah. So
this is big news.
after you listen, just hop onto YouTube because we could use the views too.
Or you could just like, I don't know, listen to one. You don't have to do both. Anyway, we're
Oh
about to
man.
hop straight into this Iowa story that we've been talking about for a while. And
Yeah.
I know that like every single person is super hyped, even though it's like probably 20 people that are out here just
And
like
people.
the Iowa story, huh?
People are emailing in like left and right. I'm getting texts, phone calls. Yo, what's the Iowa story?
You are not popular. You are not
Non-stop.
popular. Get out of here. We're jumping straight in, all right? It was my
All right.
idea. I apologize.
Yeah. I'm glad you addressed that because I have it written in my notes to like address that you started all of it.
But it is
So
not my fault that you turned out the way you did.
30%.
30% my fault. I'll take that. That's less than I expected.
It's. I mean, you're definitely not the majority of why I was so ugly that weekend.
Yeah, you made some bad decisions.
I mean, the whole trip was just filled with decisions that had to be. Dude, here's the thing: they're not bad decisions; they're just
Dumb
unfortunate.
decisions.
Like, big hate to see it. Like
There's a
the
difference.
whole. No, there's a difference. They're
All
not
right.
bad. They're just it's what you're dealt.
All right, fair enough.
Um,
Well, let me give the backstory. So I was a cross country runner and track runner in college, and I had graduated in 2018, and this was now 2019, and this was a year ago, like around this weekend.
Yep.
And I wanted to go back and support my team, and they were in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, or Cedar Falls. Which one? I don't remember. One of
It's
those.
Iowa.
It's Iowa.
It's all the same.
Anyway.
There goes all of our Iowa audience.
I mean, yeah, probably. And we were gonna go there and support, and I was like, probably in December, I was like, Keegan, do you want to come? Because there's gonna be a lot of our friends from college that you were also friends with, and it'll be a good time to catch up and like have some drinks. It'll be fun. And then you can watch them track because you know how much you love doing that.
Great. It's a great sporting event, gotta say. But I will say I was also there the year prior though. So like there was some context of like I've gone to the event before.
And that was when I was running. So like you had a little bit other reason to come actually support your boy, your best friend.
yeah, because it was
Screw
fun.
everyone
Like
else, you know. No, I'm just kidding.
genuinely, I had a good time when I went because it's kind of a party at the Airbnb that we were at, and then we got to see you guys race, and then support the team, and then go back to real life. And nothing bad happened the last time.
Nothing
Weather was
bad
fine.
happened the last time.
Nothing bad happened.
Oh man, so Keegan's like, we need to do it again. He's like kind of pumped when I tell him in December, but he also has a wedding that he's
within
planning
a couple months.
in February. So, you know, congrats. Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
Year of marriage.
Yeah.
What was your
Sorry.
answer to me when I first asked you?
I was like, let me work on it.
You
I
were,
was like,
you were
hold
like,
on.
that is not the wedding. Get that shit out of here.
Because in my mind, it was like, that sounds fun. I want to do that. But I can't really bring it up right now. Like when you're planning a wedding, like up until our date was February 2nd, everything else is just like minor decisions.
Also, a
Yeah,
little quick side note: Keegan planned his wedding on the Super Bowl weekend.
and
Like,
we didn't even think about
honestly,
it.
such an L. Anyway, moving on. Move on.
And also, the Chiefs almost went to the Super Bowl that
You
year.
are
So
so
like,
lucky they did not win last year because nobody would have gave a shit
because
about your
our
wedding.
wedding was the Saturday before the Super Bowl,
Yeah, which
so
is just one day separated.
everyone's like, so like, what are you gonna do if they go to the Super Bowl? I'm like, still have the wedding? Like, we're not just gonna be like, well,
Well, they would just wanted you to cancel so then they could go. Anyway, what happened
yeah,
next?
yeah. So then I finally get around to having the conversation and I get on board to go. And it's like the weekend after we get back from our honeymoon that we're gonna go on this boys trip. And then I'm like, but because you were like also like, I'll drive, I'll help you with the Airbnb. Like I want you to go.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean, I was already planning on driving, so that was the logic. I wasn't trying to be like a hero or nothing.
right, you're always the logical argument throughout this whole weekend. And
Uh-huh.
then I was like, but dude, I'm driving.
Yeah, you told me straight up, nah, that's my job. And I was like, why? And
Number one bad decision, but there was some logic behind it.
you got a new
Roomier
car.
car. I bought it like a few months prior, like 3 months to be exact, and it had Bluetooth.
Yeah,
Your
my
car
car
did
did
not.
not. I had that rinky dink little Honda Civic
Yeah.
'09. Didn't have no Bluetooth, no space. But I miss Naomi though. She was a good little car.
Yeah, Naomi. And so we brought Chloe, which I hadn't named Chloe yet. We named Chloe on the trip. So,
Yeah. Second bad
so
decision. No, I'm just kidding.
what's wrong with Chloe? All right. Anyways.
I'm just joking, my guy.
All right. So we're gonna go. And I was like, I'm driving though. First bad decision. And then the wedding happens, honeymoon happens. I come back to just a bunch of flakes.
And what do
Just
you mean by that? What do you mean?
everyone in the group chat was like, yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know if I should go. So then I'm like having to rally everyone around this weekend.
This is when your emergency mode kicks in. Because every
Yeah.
time somebody starts to flake, Keegan's like, all right, get your asses over here. We going. Like, he's like, who's going? I got the Airbnb. I got it. I got the alcohol. He's got all the leftover alcohol from his
Oh,
wedding.
true.
He's got everything going down. And then finally he started to convince some people.
I went full speech mode because I've already doubled down on that I'm going this weekend. Like I put a lot of effort into making that weekend happen and
But
offered
to
to
me,
drive.
that was a quick turnaround. Because last I heard, you were like, I'll catch me in a little bit. And next thing I know, he's like, yes.
We're going. Get the Airbnb, and then a few people flake out, and then there's people in Peoria like, I don't know if I should be able to go. Like I don't have a car. Because remember, like the original group we were gonna go with all flaked out, and so we pivoted to different group.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Not all together, but like
but
for the most part, yeah.
So then we're convincing new people to get in the carpool with other people. It just was a mess. It was like herding cats.
Mm-hmm.
And so we finally get everyone on board. And I was like, dope. The plan is set. I got everyone in. We have an Airbnb. I bought it. People will Venmo me, whatever. I have a bunch of booze left over from the wedding. We load it in and we're going to leave Friday after work. So we finally get in, 4 o'clock sharp. We hit the road.
It's a 5-hour drive to Waterloo, Iowa, which is where our Airbnb is outside of Cedar, whatever it is.
Rapids.
Is
I
it?
feel like that sounds
Dude,
right.
I gotta look it up. Cedar. Yeah, Cedar Falls.
Okay. So we're driving up to Cedar Falls.
Well, we're driving to Waterloo, dude.
Well, yeah. So
the people there pronounce it differently. We said like Waterloo. They go Waterloo. They put it on the LU.
They're like borderline
borderline what?
They're borderline Minnesota up there though.
Minnesota?
Yeah, because you don't really think about it. Northern Iowa's, I mean, bordering Minnesota, so like.
True.
But it's a 5-hour drive, and we are just jamming while I'm coughing up a lung because I'm sick.
You were
That's how much I doubled
so
down.
sick. Like I was
That's how
like
much.
so worried you were not coming, and then you were just like, "Nah, I got you." In the car, and I'm just trying to take your mind off it because halfway in the ride, you were like, "Dude, this is gonna be rough," and I'm
Because
like,
I thought it was fine. I really did, but the evening times were just absolutely
"But you
terrible.
didn't even like want to switch driving." Like I was like, "You want me to?" You're like, "Nah, I got it." I was just like, "Why are you being so obstinate?" Like,
I
all right,
don't know.
dude, do
Looking back, I
you?
have no idea what I was going through. But like, the biggest regret was like, why didn't I check the weather?
Mm-hmm.
Because then we get up
Mm-hmm.
to Waterloo, and we drove the sunlight out. So by the time we got there, it was just nighttime. And I started noticing here and there was snow, and I'm like, oh wow, it must have snowed
I mean,
recently.
that's normal for February, right?
Yeah, yeah, whatever.
It's
We
all right.
pull up to our Airbnb, and then I get to the curb, and I realize, oh, it's a
That
it's
oh,
not just like a couple inches.
dude, it
It's
was
a
like 2 feet.
foot.
No, it was like over a foot, dude. It was like you couldn't see people's houses because of how big their snow mounds were. You could. It was a mess.
And I just remember looking at it like, I really hope it doesn't snow. Like I really
You were like, should we be
it's,
here right now? And I'm like, well, we ain't turning around.
we're already
Like
here.
we're here. So
Oh man. So we get to the Airbnb safely, and we get in, we meet the guys there. I think we just had a rather chill night Friday. We went out, right?
yeah. So yeah, we get in and it's just kind of like a reunion for a little bit. Keegan hasn't seen these guys in like a couple months to a year, and I mean I've seen these guys kind of regularly because I was I don't know, I was still going back to visit them in college. Um, but we just kind of hung out and then ended up going out to the bars and I guess we didn't go in Waterloo. We drove to Cedar Rapids to go to some of their bars, and I don't know, it was a good time, but they closed really early. So I don't know if they're
Yeah.
like trying to say they close at 2, but then they start kicking you out at like 1:15. Like it's really
More like
dumb.
a one. They're like, hey,
It's about
wrap
that
it up.
time, dude. Like last call,
Last
like
call.
the
What do you
last
mean last
song.
call?
And then like
Well,
you
we're
are
closing
being
in an
pushed
hour.
out the door at 1:15, like kind of bullshit. So anyway, uh not a big deal, but it was raining and there was like no Ubers because we're going to Waterloo and everybody is also in an Uber around campus because it's raining. So we take a look at how far we are. It is 2 miles away, and us being runners are like, dude, that's easy, too easy. Like, let's run. We got it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
raining. Like, we'll get there. We'll be soaked, but we'll change. It'll be fine. And then Keegan's like, hold up, wait a minute. He's like, look at me. Do you think I'm running right now? And I'm
I-
like,
I'm also in dress
see you at
shoes
home. Wait, why were you wearing dress shoes? Oh, your
because we
work.
got off work Friday.
Yo, this is Keegan. Side note: Keegan has this problem where he never changes out of his dress clothes from work. When you had to dress up, I would come over to visit him, and it's like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. at night, and he's still wearing his work clothes, like down to the shoes. Like, dude didn't take off his shoes, and I'm like, "You comfy?" He's like, "Yeah, dude. What's up?" He's got his feet on the couch and everything. I'm like, dude, just take your shoes off. Anyway, how's your little 1 a.m. jog?
First of all, you guys go, oh, we could run that far. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's within a mile. And you're like, no, it's 2 miles away. And I'm like, like I'm already drinking, sick. It's downpouring freezing rain. It's not just raining, it's starting to freeze over. And I'm just with a bunch of track athletes, collegiate, and have raced recently.
Did anybody stay back to kind of be near you?
I think somebody did, but eventually they're like, sorry,
Hey,
I
you too slow, my
pick
guy.
it up. And then
They just
and
dip.
like I don't know, it just you guys like there was like a brief second where I was like about to be like, hey, logically I can't do that. I'm chubby, can't run, can't keep up with you. Let's not do that. Like if you could have said any other thing that like option, like let's walk that far. Let's take an Uber. Let's maybe there's birds around or whatever. I would have been like, cool, but running, last option for me.
And by
And you guys
birds,
just
you mean like the scooters, not like the
yeah, yeah.
animal.
Yeah,
Then we're gonna ride on a bird, just like
just some ostriches nearby.
Oh my
But
gosh.
so you guys like say that it's an idea group chatter, and then you guys like either had some runner I'm fit mind meld thing, and you guys
Well,
just
I think
all
I just took off running, dude.
probably
And then everybody just followed suit. Like they weren't just gonna leave. Like there was no Ubers. They said like 25 minutes, and I'm like, I will be home sooner than that. And then you were just like, no, no.
I'm over here like, because I'm like also coughing. Like it'd be one thing if like I wasn't
And I
sick.
forgot like you were sick, so you came in soaked and
Yeah.
just like, like just coughing for like 30 minutes. And I was like, hey, Keegan, how was your workout? And you were like, fuck you, dude. You were
I
just
was
like
so
upset.
pissed.
And I was like,
But
I'm
like
sorry.
it made sense. Like it didn't really make sense, but like we at least got home. And we had this, it didn't make sense. Like running, that was just
So
such an L.
you would have rather stood there cold
100%.
and wet
100%.
than warm, wet, and home?
But hold on, the warm shit didn't happen right away. It was
Yeah,
wet,
but you were
feel like I'm gonna
warmer
die.
than sitting there in the cold.
Blisters.
My God.
It was blisters, ankle hurt, back hurt, sweating, but yet cold and soaked at the same time, while thinking I'm gonna die because I can't breathe. So
But you were home. All right, whatever.
All right.
I ain't winning this one. So yeah, we just kind of hung out, but then somebody was like, all right, there's no Ubers, so we're not getting our usual McDanks. So it's like, what do we get?
dude,
And there's no food past midnight in Waterloo, Iowa, like none. So we're like, all right, like I can't order anything from like Grubhub, Uber Eats, blah blah blah. And then somebody's like, what about like Papa John's? So we look them up, and they're
They're there.
open, and they deliver, and we
Big Papa.
they got you some gluten-free pizza, and
They
that's
hooked the whole
stuff you
squad
need.
up.
Your little face-sized pizza.
That little, it's like
Dude, it's like this. It's like no, I'm just kidding. And then yeah, we all had some nice pizza, and then
because that was the kicker. Was like, oh, we're gonna eat some food, and I'm like dealing with having to be gluten free. I'm like, all right, guys, can we get like a gluten sensitive version? It's like, okay, Papa, Big Papa coming through.
I mean, like we didn't realize how integral and pivotal Papa John's was gonna be in our weekend. But that was like the first foreshadowment because they were like the only people coming through for us, right?
Yeah,
So
only
then-
place like past one that
Well,
would.
past midnight, like everything else
Yeah.
was closed. It was like closed at 11:30 or blah blah blah. So yeah, we went to bed, and then we wake up and we had to go to the track meet to go watch and support. But then like Keegan gets a phone call, and I'm not really like understanding what's going on. But what
You're
happened?
in like the track guy phase where you guys actually pay attention to the
I'm out
race.
here, like,
Whereas like whereas I'm sitting in the bleachers looking at it and I'm like, oh cool. And then you guys are like, oh yeah, you see how he cut in on that one? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's gonna make this move up here on this bend. Yeah. And I'm like, cool. Cool. Felt like a
Cool.
guy not understanding NASCAR, dude. But
I mean, it's a similar concept, but just on a very small scale.
but I get a phone call and I find out my wife's sick. And I mean,
And
I
at
was
first
sick.
you made it sound like it was the sniffles. You was like,
I-
"Oh, Stormy's sick, dude." I swear, you were like, "Stormy's sick. I need to go." And I was like, "She got the sniffles."
Dude, I was like trying to keep it HIPAA. Like I was trying to be like, yo,
But I am like, how does she need to be like? You need to go drive 5 hours home for the sniffles. But he was like, "Nah, dude, she is like dying." Like
Well-
on death. No, I'm joking. But like she needs to go get some like care kind of thing, you know. Can't just
Yeah,
sit
and-
at home.
and it just was like it's no brainer. Like, yeah, if I can, I should probably try to get home. So then I was like, so how am I gonna work this out? And after a few phone calls with Stormy and her parents and just sorting things out, and then I'm like, all right, dude, I need you to find some other way of getting to Kansas City. What are our options? And we finally figured out that you would go ride home with some of the guys so you can watch the rest of the track meet and not have to get up at the break of dawn and go.
Yeah, because I
And-
still wanted to watch stuff on that Sunday. So
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to dip, you know.
yeah, and I didn't want to ruin your weekend, so it was like you're gonna go back to Peoria, take the train, and you'll make it to Kansas City.
Hmm. No
And
big
then I
deal.
was like, okay, cool, inconvenient, but it works.
It wasn't
Just
even that inconvenient because either way, I wasn't driving.
things. Most of the things between me and you, we find some weird way around that, and we found out that they had tickets available. So we get that. I feel better, but I'm also feeling sick as shit. So at the same time, I'm like kind of glad. I'm like, okay, cool. I probably should go home.
But you're like, I am not doing it tonight.
Because I honestly don't think I could have. Like, I knew in my head that both driving at night sucked, and it was snowing already. Saturday, or it was
Like
in the forecast.
flurries. It was like
Yeah,
real light. And I think that's when you first checked the forecast and you were
yeah,
like,
that's
oh, dang.
might get bad. And so, um, so I finally get that sorted out, and then where's it going with this?
I can tell you where you were going with this. We went out, like we're getting ready to get
Oh yeah, yeah.
another night going, because obviously like we're not going home. So we're like, all right, go back to the house, let's get some drinks. And Keegan is just like, guys, I am dead.
I'm over there with
I
like
am on death's door,
just
like
breathing.
wheezing, and he's like, I'm gonna stay in, and we're like, all right, Keegan, like, yeah, that makes sense. You got to drive in the morning
You do
anyway.
you.
It's all right. And we go out, we have a good time, and again they kick us out early,
Yep.
and it's now a full blizzard. Like I am being like angrily shuffled out by some dick at like at the club, and I'm just like, bro, do you see anything out there? He's like, no. I'm like, exactly. I'm not standing in it. I know. I'm like, my Uber will
I
be here in like 5 minutes. Let me stay inside. And he's like, out.
I like drunk version of you where you get so logical about things that I like when you do the hand thing. You're like, look, okay, hey, look outside. Anybody out there? No, look in there. Look.
Yo, I
Is anybody
gotta tell
inside?
how it is, my guy. Like, I'm not standing out there, but I got a call from some of my other friends. They were like, "Oh, we're just like down the street at Insomnia Cookies," and
Clutch.
because they got kicked out, like they weren't so forceful. They were just like, "All right, I'll go in the snow." So then they go to Insomnia Cookies and they're open
You guys
like
didn't
all
feel
the
like running?
time, huh?
You guys didn't feel like running that night.
Yeah. I mean, we do when we have to, but not when we don't want to. But I walk in Insomnia Cookies and they're just like nomming on some nice like warm cookies, and I'm like, dude, I want something substantial. Like I want greasy food. And again,
Enter.
Papa John's.
Papa John's.
So like
Big Papa coming
Big
through.
Papa. We call up Papa's and I'm like, all right, our Uber's gonna be here in 5. We're gonna be home in like 20. We need to time this Uber or this Papa John's order. So like we call them up and they're like, yeah, we'll be there in like 45 minutes. And I'm like, even in the snow? Like y'all close in 10 minutes. Like, like this is I don't know about this one. So like
I'm sorry, but if I'm in high school and I work at Papa John's and somebody orders it, like, sorry, sir, we're closed. Like, I ain't driving 45 minutes to deliver a pizza.
Oh, I mean,
before
I
go
wouldn't
home.
either. Like, I genuinely did not expect them to. So, I was just planning to go to bed hungry and angry. But we get in the Uber and the dude's pretty chill, just driving us. And he's like, yeah, like they don't plow the roads right away here. 'Cause it's like white roads everywhere. You can't really see anything. And I'm in the back like, that's cool. Like this is probably important for
I
Keegan
was
to
gonna
know
say,
in the
why wouldn't
morning.
you ever tell me?
And I just like I was more focused on beating Papa John's home. So I was like, yo, you gotta step on it though, my guy. Like we need that food. But
Not
then
knowing that there's somebody at the house that you could have just called and say, yo, hey, Papa John's is going to be there in
bro,
a bit.
you were asleep and sick. I didn't want to disturb you. I was thinking that far ahead, okay?
Oh, okay.
You're okay. And we get in the house and Papa John's, well, actually, they didn't come right away. Keegan comes down because we're being loud, like just not thinking.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
guys did not sneak inside. It was There's a door. Let's ram it with somebody's body. It sounded like, dude. It's not like you guys
That wasn't
drove
me.
through the
That
door.
wasn't me. I was not the first one in the door. I mean, I am loud as a human being, but I did not slam the door.
I have a feeling somebody else stayed back with me,
Yeah, there
or
was
just
another
didn't want to go
friend.
out.
Yeah.
So they were sleeping, and I remember them getting like pissed off, and I'm like, whatever, dude. Like you
You
can't.
came down excited to see
I
what was
came down
going on.
because like I was feeling better after resting, and I genuinely wanted to be a part of like the hang. So I'm like, fine. I get like the best part where I get to hear all the stories and then see what else happens throughout the night.
Hmm. So yeah, we
But
were
yeah,
like just being loud, and then you're like, dude, I think you guys forgot the pizzas here because when the doorbell rang, everybody was like, yo. They were like, they came in clutch. The funniest part, the woman comes to the door and it's like, hey, I'm sorry it took so long. And I was like, hold up. I'm sorry I ordered 5 minutes before close or whatever it was, and was like, we apologize to you. Like, thank you. Here's a fat tip for coming in the snow, unplowed, blah, blah, blah. And she
Papa
was like,
John's
oh,
needs to
thanks.
like give her Employee of the Year award.
Kind of,
Jeez,
yeah, honestly. And
that's
then
some
we
dedication.
demolished that pizza and
Yeah.
went to bed. Now, I, again, forgetting to let Keegan know about the pertinent information I had because I was concerned about the food. Again, not my fault. You got what happened to you.
Okay.
I wake up at like 6 a.m. to just one of these on my shoulder, like, all right, bro. And then I'm just like, nah, like, see ya. Like,
I honestly didn't think about waking. I was like, should I even wake him up? And I'm like, I might as well. Just let him know I actually left.
that I'm glad you did, but it was just funny because I got just one of the I'm out, and then I was just like, oh man. So
But then I go out.
what happens to you?
This is where bad decisions happen.
Yeah, this
I
is
get out
bad
and
decision number 3.
also, you guys downplayed how much it was snowing.
Well, it
Like
snowed
hard.
more after we went to bed, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Maybe. We're
So
gonna
you guys
go
are
with
like,
that.
you guys are like, it'll be fine. So I was
Who
like,
said that?
probably. Anyways, so I get in my car and I get it all brushed off because it snowed quite a bit.
Oh,
So I'm
really now,
brushing it off.
Keegan? I don't think they were aware yet.
Uh,
What are
so
you
then
laughing for?
I don't know.
Are you anticipating what's coming?
Yeah, so I get my car and I'm driving and I notice that there's a shit ton of snow on the road still, and I'm like, wow, the plows really should be out. And so then I get into like the main roads, and the main roads are fine. So then I hit, Kansas City GPS go, and I don't even like manually go to like the interstate versus the country highways we came in on,
Mm-hmm.
because that's why I kept going, because that's how we came up to Waterloo, is like the faster route, because it's not a direct route. But so then I'm like, okay, the roads are fine. I hit, well, because they were in the town, because
Oh, they were? There were
yeah,
some plows?
well, the main roads in town were fine because the snowplows could get to it.
Okay.
They don't plow. This is where it kicks in. The information you got that night is they don't plow the country roads,
Okay,
the highways.
so if I would have told you, it really would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it isn't my fault. Don't make me out to be the bad guy. 30%, yeah.
So I get out to like the main highways in the country. So there's no buildings, there's no houses or anything. So it's just highway and cornfields. Immediately, I notice that my visibility's gone. The wind is so powerful, it's not snowing anymore, but it's kicking all the snow from in the fields and bringing it into the road and into like my car. So then it's so white and bright out from the sun, I can't see the road. And just like windshield wipers are going, I can't see it. And then I start seeing snow drifts, which I've never had to really deal with. I mean, I drove in Illinois all the time, but
That was the
snow drifts-
first?
I mean, in Illinois, the drifts are nowhere near what I had to deal with in Iowa.
Fair.
Like, we're talking in Illinois, you might like lose track of which lane you're in for like a brief bit. I'm telling you, at one point, I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle of the road. Like, I'm in between the yellow. Like you just don't really realize it, but you just slowly kind of, because you know how when you're driving in snow, you're kind of just following the already paved path in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Basically, it's just these mounds of snow washed up on the road, and I'm like, these are pretty big, and I'm like
These are
white knuckling it,
large. They ain't
and
small.
I'm like, okay, do I turn around? And I'm like, Taylor logic, I'm already in it. I'm in it to win it. If I turn around, it's the same
You
situation.
can't blame me for that.
I'm gonna try.
You applied Taylor logic in the wrong spots, my guy.
Anyways, so I'm like, all right, I've already been driving for an hour. So I'm pretty far. And I'm like, I might as well just see if it gets better. My turn is in like 15 miles. So I'm like, this is gonna suck, but like it's what I have to go through. Like, how much worse can it get? Thinking I'm already dodging the worst of it. No. The mounds get like larger, and I'm also seeing cars stuck in dishes from like the night before.
Dishes.
Ditches from the night before. And I'm like, shit, this is really fucking bad. Also, I'm starting to realize I haven't seen any other cars on the road all morning. Probably a warning sign to not be on the roads. And then I fucking first of all, I avoid two huge snow drifts that I wasn't even on a road at one point. It was still snow. And just
You were
kind of
like
gauge
in the camber on the side, but it was like snow flat.
basically it was snow from both sides, and there was like a bit like where I thought this is the shallow end
Dude, your
where
hands
they
are
both meet.
ghosts.
All right,
just you can use them, but just a note,
no,
like
no, no.
half of them are invisible.
So so the middle, I thought, oh, this has to be the shallow point of both drifts. So I coasted through it
Mm-hmm.
and made it out, swerved, and then like just nailed like 4 feet of snow. And
Did your airbag deploy?
no, thank God it
So it
didn't. 'Cause
wasn't that like
it
big of
wasn't
an
that
impact?
fast. So I mean, it was a hard impact. Like it's a. I mean, I
But
was
I
going
mean,
like
the
25 to
snow
30.
was kind of like soft-ish. It wasn't
It
like all hitting a wall. It was more like
wasn't like hitting a wall, but
you moved
after a
into it.
certain point, you compact enough snow where it
Okay.
does.
Okay.
So then I like try to do as much as I can without doing too much, because like you don't want to go. You
Whatever
don't want
that
to.
means.
You don't want to like. You don't want to like bury your car, because if you wiggle around too much or you floor it too much or you try
Yeah.
to get out, you'll bury it even further.
Fair enough.
And then I get out and I look at it and I'm just like, there's no way of getting out, because I look ahead and it's just deeper snow. Like it's not like I hit the edge of the drift.
You're
Hit the
in it.
beginning of the drift. I'm in it. And then I look at the road because I wasn't really able to see very much ahead of me. And it is just, you see like bits of the road here and there. It just gets worse. And so then I'm like a brief moment of like just calm and then pure panic. And so then I call roadside assistance, which is what you should do, but honestly they probably can't help me, but I try. I call them. Lady's talking to me, she's keeping me calm. She's like, we've gotten plenty of reports that there are cars stranded there. We'll add you to the list. And I was like, okay, what's like the estimate of like getting a tow truck out here? She's like, well, let me finish your claim and we'll put it in. We'll see when our guys can get there. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm sitting there. She's like typing or whatever. And then she's like, okay, got your claim and good news. So we'll get to you within the day. And I was like, okay, great. Like when
see you in a bit.
I was like, yeah. So like, when are you gonna get here? Like, like 2 hours, 3 hours. She's like, so it might be like 9 to 11 hours. And I just like sank. And I was like, cool. Yeah, that's not gonna work. But
Woof.
so that's when I realized I'm legit stranded. There is no hope of getting my car out.
You panicking
And
a little bit.
right as I realized that moment, I'm like, okay, I gotta call Taylor. Probably need to let him know.
Sponge car.
So I call you up and I'm like, hey, I'm stuck.
And I'm
And
like, boy, what you mean? You in traffic? And you're like, I'm in a ditch. And I am like, what
you're
am
also
I supposed to
hungover.
do? Yeah, but I'm like, what am I supposed to do? You're like, come get me. And I'm like, in what car? And you're like, I mean, someone there has a Jeep. And I'm like, yeah, but it ain't like a snow Jeep. Like, it ain't
Yeah.
coming to get you. And I wasn't trying to be like demoralizing, but I was like, I mean,
I
if
put you
we
in a
came to get you, like we would get stuck. And he
yeah,
was
I
like,
put you in a real bad spot,
yeah.
to be
But
honest.
then the way you responded to that was, yeah, all right, I'll call you back. And I was
So I
like,
was just like, I don't know what I thought in my head. I'm like, oh, they'll just get like some like snow ski or what are those get like a snowmobile. Yeah, you just rent one. like, like that was a thought in my head for like a brief moment. It's like they could rent some snowmobiles and be out here in no time. But then I call my parents, obviously, I call my wife, and I'm just like, there's nothing I can do. And like I looked at my gas gauge because that next thought came in my head. I'm like a half a tank, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how long that would even last. And I have no food, no water. And I'm just like, this is a big moment in my life of a big hate to see. And then I avoid getting hit because then I look at my rear view and I see another car coming, and that's the first car I saw like all morning. And it was one of those big white vans that like a lot of collegiate athlete
yeah,
teams take. And so I immediately put my hazards on and I just start wailing on my horn as loud as I can because I know how bad the visibility is, and I'm in a silver ass car stuck in snow, and I'm also like not in the ditch. I'm actually in the middle of the road.
yeah,
So I'm honking my
that's
horn. They
nerve
see me
wracking.
in time. They don't stop, which I don't blame them. Like rule number one in snow is don't brake. Well, not like never, but
So
like
it just hits
rule
you, right?
like you want to pump the brake, you don't want to full stop, and then they coasted through and managed to get out of the drift, but they just kept going. So then, luckily, like I think this has been 30 minutes of me sitting in the car, just sweating profusely and having anxiety and freaking the hell out. And then, luckily, some big dually truck pulls up. Dude yells, "Get in now, or you are stuck for the rest of the day." And I
How
was
long were
like,
you there for?
out there like at least 45 minutes.
So it was like, it felt like an eternity though.
100%. I can't even imagine waiting 9 hours out there and just like hoping somebody gets out to you.
That would be, honestly, at that point, I would have found a way to get out there. I would have been like, all right, bro, it has been nine
No, in your
hours.
logic, you just run.
No, I mean, actually, 15,
You
15, no, no,
would.
no, no. You said it was like 15 miles to your turn. So, like, how far out were you? Like 5 miles?
No, I had to have been at least 15 minutes outside of town.
But slow driving. So, like, how far would you say? Because I could have ran to you. But what was I supposed to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, then I run with you. Come on, dude. Look at
Yeah.
this.
No, and I'm just saying, I'll just come up and I'll just pick the car out, you know?
I probably was at least 10 miles outside of town. Probably.
Okay, that's not too bad.
But you know the funny thing when I was on with the phone with Progressive, they're like, "What mile marker are you at?" And I'm like, I can't even see the road. Like, what do you mean?"
What do
Luckily,
you
I knew
mean?
like roughly how far I was from the other highway because of GPS. But then that dude, I said, you know what, fuck it, like. Yeah, you're right. And I grabbed my bag. I didn't even like think about it. Like just get in this guy's car. So then I turn off my car. I turn off the hazards. Key tip: like, if your car's stranded after a certain point, turn off your hazards. Like,
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
gonna run your battery out.
Makes sense.
Um. So then I get in the car with them, and as we're pulling away, this black truck is coming behind my car and nearly hitting it.
Mm-hmm.
this dude's honking at him and like flashing his lights that there's a car ahead, basically. And I'm guessing the guy in the black truck thought he was like, I don't know, being aggressive to him and not trying to warn him. So he flipped off the guy driving me. I was like, you're gonna
Okay.
get stuck. Like, I'm trying to warn you. Because then he was telling me that it's far worse that way.
Hmm.
And he apparently lives like on a farm outside of town, and he's heading to his son's place because he was afraid they were gonna get snowed in all weekend. Like, it
Hmm.
was that bad apparently. And so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I was like, so how long does it take to like get these plowed and like get to the cars? And he's like, dude, I've seen it take 2 days. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I hope not. So we get back. I thank him and his wife that were in the car with, and I go about my day. And I get back to the place, and there's still some people that haven't gone to because that was another thing I was trying to figure out is there any car left at the house that could take me to the track meet?
Hmm.
And I get back, and the door opens, and I don't remember who it was. The first person I saw, like, what the hell are you doing back? I'm like, don't, right
Don't
now it's
get me
not the time.
started.
I'm gonna be quiet for a couple hours.
That's a nice way
then,
of putting it.
and then I get back, and
They
my
took
car
you to the
is
track meet, right? Because
yeah,
that's
the track
when you
guys.
you came up to me, and I was just like, "Hey, buddy, how are you?"
You were like Patrick and SpongeBob. Hey, buddy. It'll
uh,
be fine.
don't worry about it. I was trying to be all happy, but Patrick's your persona. Don't
Yeah.
don't give me Patty. My
Yeah, it was
name's
Patrick.
not Rick.
So yeah, I get back and I'm like in the worst mood. And normally, if you know me, I don't really snap at people or I don't really get mad that often. But man, I was a force to be reckoned with. I was having zero fun at the track meet.
You were literally sitting there in the back, like, like I'm exaggerating the face a little bit, but you were just like,
This is like my nightmare scenario.
yeah. I mean, it's something that you really don't want to happen.
Because then I remember people were like, all they were like asking me like, was like, what do you do now? And I'm like, it's a good question. I don't know. So then I go.
You were being such a sarcastic dick, and I was like,
I was
Keegan, you gotta rein it in, my God. Like, people are
I
just
was
trying to
so
help.
mad. And then I had to call the non-emergency line like I don't know. It must have been at least over 30 times that day. And I must have been driving
She
that
was probably
woman
like
crazy.
one more call from like blocking your number. Like, you can't call the police anymore. Like, you are screwed if anything else
Because
happens.
it's Waterloo, so it's like one dispatcher. It's not like a variable. So it's the same lady each time, and I'm like, hey, Nissan Altima calling in. Have you heard anything? She's like, no, still nothing. I'll call. I have your number. I'll call you back when I hear more. And then I'm starting to think through like, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I might be here another day. Like,
You will be.
and I'm looking at you. I'm like, hey, that train ticket we bought. You still
Oh, yeah,
leaving?
I bought the train ticket. I
You
forgot.
bought it.
I was set, dude. So that's why. Yeah, yeah. Because I remember
Because
we
I put
were.
you in even a worse situation where I'm like, hey, are you just about to leave your best friend
You were trying to
in
guilt trip the
Iowa?
hell out of me, man.
No,
I was
I
like,
don't feel any
Keegan,
shame
Keegan,
about
don't do
that.
this to me. Like, I bought the ticket. I,
First of
like,
all,
I
I
was
feel
whining.
I feel zero shame about doing that because the alternative is because if I didn't, you would have 100% gone.
Yeah, of course.
100%.
Why wouldn't
And then for what happens next, if I was by myself, I don't know how I would have gotten through all that shit, to be honest. Anyways,
So let me explain my
yeah, you
little
feel like
bartering thing because I was like trying to because people were leaving at different times to go to Peoria, so I was trying to find someone that would stay back to like wait for Keegan because they might have gotten the cars in a couple hours or so. Um, and finally, I like come to terms like after an hour or so, like that nobody's gonna be there. So I'm like, all right, I'll look up to see if I can get like a refund because it's I only bought it like the day before, so
Yeah.
you couldn't get a full refund. I'm like, all right, yeah, like I'll stay with you. And then Keegan was like happy, but it was just like good. That was his response to me, and I was like, "Boy, you better show some appreciation, my guy." Like, I don't. It was just
You
funny.
gotta. The thing is I have like 30 things I gotta take care of, and that was one of them. So then I was like, okay, relief there. Let's panic about the rest of the shit I gotta figure out. And because you kept going like, well, let's like wait an hour and see if the police call back because you might get your car back. I remember that was like your like go-to response was like your car might get out. Like well, let's just see what happens. Like your glass half full. Like that whole
I was
morning.
trying to stay positive with you because you
And
were
I'm
just
over
over there
here like the
negative
glass is
Nancy.
broken. There is no water. There the glass is shattered.
Oh
So
man.
then I'm like, okay, cool. My guy is staying with me, but like, where are we staying? Because Airbnb we're checked out. So then
So hey, my Airbnb host was a dude.
I wish I could like shout him out like right here and be like, if you're ever in Waterloo, but don't go there, stay at this spot because that guy was awesome. He was like, as soon as I was explaining what's going on, he's like, don't worry about it. Maybe I should pull up the messages, but like he's like, don't worry about it. Like we don't have any like reservations after you guys for like another week.
So yeah, we get to the Airbnb because he let us stay again, and now
Because also it's like 8 and my car is still like
it's
nowhere to.
9. It's like it's late,
It's late. Yeah.
and because we were thinking about getting food, and since it's really shitty outside, like no place is delivering. We ordered from 2 different places, maybe 3, and they all canceled within 20 minutes. And it wasn't even like right away. It was like they waited 20 minutes to cancel, and we were like, dude,
Yeah, they teased us. Like,
yeah,
did you pick up our food and then cancel?
it was dumb. So then we ended up getting again Papa
Big Papa.
John's. Yeah. So we got you your another little gluten-free pizza, and then we got me I don't know why, but my dumbass ordered an XL for myself.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything, but like it was definitely no, dude. I think you said like in case we get like you made a joke where you're like in case we get snowed in, I'm gonna make sure we have food.
I that sounds like something I'd say. But yeah, I don't know. I probably thought it was like some sort of better value, blah blah blah. I got swindled. Anyway, we ordered that, and of course they came through. Like what do we even expect? Papa John's, they're the guys.
You know, I haven't had Papa John's in a long time. Maybe it's because I have PTSD over it. Maybe it's like I'll eat a bite and like, oh well. Anyways.
So we're trying to look for ways to entertain ourselves in this house that isn't really like up to date on things. Like it's got a small little TV, not a smart TV. They got Wi-Fi, but like I'm not just trying to be looking at my laptop. And I noticed he had a Chromecast. So then I just scrapped the laptop idea and I pull out my phone, and we were gonna watch like How I Met Your Mother on Hulu, but then like I just pull up Twitch. And I'm like,
oh, I forgot.
you ever watch Bob Ross on Twitch? And he's like, Bob Ross is on Twitch? That dude's dead. And I'm like, dude, they put his entire like Joy of Painting series on repeat every weekend from 3 p.m. Friday to 3 p.m. Monday. So I'm like, if we're here till 3 p.m. on Monday, we got Bob Ross to entertain us.
That joke didn't go over very well with me, but yeah.
But because he was in a very high strung mood, like Bob Ross soothing tones and paints really calmed him down to the point where
Them
like
trees.
he was laughing, and I was like, all right, but the laughs turned into coughs because he was sick. So when the Keegan goes, he was laughing at me coughing. He would go like, just like spew cough all over the couch, and I'm just like creasing over here. He's like, this isn't funny, and I'm like, dude, you cannot even exist without coughing right now, and it would just make him cough more. So I don't know. I felt bad, but I also was laughing really hard at you. So that was a good time for me. I don't know about you.
I mean, genuinely, out of everything out of the weekend, us hanging out in that Airbnb
Eating flaming hot
was
Doritos.
was a highlight. Like, as much of a low light it was, that was a highlight. Like, just shitty circumstance. At least I got my best friend here, some flaming hot Doritos and some stone quackers on the TV, and just laughing at the ridiculousness that is that show. It helped get my mind off it for a bit until my phone rang. Now my phone, it's like 11 o'clock, and they're like, "Hey, the snowplows are just now getting able to get past the area." And I'm like, what have they been doing all day? It's 11. And so they're like, we should be able to pull out your car by like 1 or 2. And I'm like, I don't know how shit works in Iowa, but like, this is wild. And so I'm like, all right. And they're like, just call us back at like 9 a.m. tomorrow. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I guess I've already accepted I'm sleeping here. So at least like I know that they're getting to my car, and then that they're gonna get it and then call this towing company tomorrow, and they'll have your car. And so like that's semi good news, but it's also like, okay, at this point, like, whatever. Like, I've been through all this shit, so throw on some more. Why not? And we go to sleep. We wake up. I email work because thankfully I brought my work laptop with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, I'm going to work remotely. I'm snowed in Iowa, which, by the way, they knew I was going to Iowa. So I don't know why they didn't like warn me, hey, there's blizzards all up over there and it snowed here too. Like, why are you going to Iowa this weekend? But that's still my fault. But like, could brought it up. And then so I'm working remotely, and I call the towing company, give them my credit card information because you have to pay for it. And then they're like, okay, we dropped it off at this like random school, and they're like, here's the address to the school, like not to the car. It's like, so I'm like, oh, it's in the parking lot.
What did you want? GPS coordinates, like latitude, longitude?
Like after knowing where it was actually at, anyways. So then I'm like, okay, so do you guys have like any taxis? Because Ubers are just not an option out here. Because we checked to see what an Uber would be like. It'd be like 45 minutes. And they're like, yeah, we got a cab service, but we are also like partnered with like the Cedar Rapids, which is not Cedar Falls, which is closer to us. So they're like, we'll have to get a cab from there. And so I was like, sure, book it. Like, we'll find something in the meantime and just cancel it. Because I asked them, can you cancel? Like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Yeah, book it. And if we can't find something in that much time, then I guess there's for sure a cab going to pick us up. So luckily, I think I had either downloaded Lyft or we were like looking through Lyfts and Ubers, and we finally got a car. And it showed up like within 10 minutes. Like it was like, it went from it was going to be an hour wait to like a guy's coming your way. Like,
you must have just completed a ride.
Must have. So then we canceled the crappy taxi service that was coming to our house, and it pulls up, and it's just like a sign of goodwill. It's like it's a huge, like all-wheel drive, huge truck, like lift kit. It's like decked out.
I think he's got like a plow on it, a winch. Like this dude is prepared.
This is my type man's right here. All right, here we go. So we get in, and then I'm showing him like where they said to go, and he's like, "Oh, I know what school that is." Like, luckily he knows the area.
He's a local.
And he's like, I know where they usually pull in those cars. I don't remember why he knew that information. He's like, yeah, I know where they pull in those. Dude, was he a snowplower?
Well, I
Like
mean, he
that's
had a plow on the thing, but I don't think he had like a name on the side of his truck. Like, I think he just, some people in like snowy areas have that for their own homes and stuff.
yeah.
So,
But he's like, I know where they usually drop off those cars after towing them. I'm like, sweet. And we get there, and my car's nowhere to be found in the lot. So I'm calling the towing company, and they're like, "Oh, we told you the wrong stuff. It got mixed up. Got mixed up with what the police were telling us to go."
and
Blah,
you
blah,
about
blah.
reached
And
through
I'm
the
like,
phone,
I'm
like,
like, okay, cool. Tell me where my car is, please.
except for
There.
not that night.
Then they just tell us like a road name, and I'm like, "Hey, do you know where this is?" And he's like, "Yeah, I should be able to get there." I'm like, "Sweet." Like any other Uber would have been like, "Get out. This is where I was told to go. Get out." This dude's just driving around. He's like searching for a car with us. We find my Nissan. It is caked with snow from all ends, and then it is the way it's positioned. It's off of a side road, and there are two cars in front of me, like in a line, two cars in a line, but then there's they started a new row of cars. So to get out, I had to do one of these back and then go perpendicular, go out that way,
hmm
basically. And we look at the car, we look back at the dude, and he's like, "You guys good?" And we're like, we don't we don't
Bad
try to do
decision number
anything.
4. Get
We're just
out of
like,
here. Like, we
"Thank
are
you,
straight. Get
thank you for your time."
But yeah, we should have had him stay because it took us about 45 minutes to get the car from here to here. Because first of all, your wheels were like not moving at all because it was just caked with snow. So I had to get in every single spoke with the little ice scraper on all sides, and then I'm like, all right, turn your wheel to the left. One wheel turns, and I'm like, Keegan, turn your wheel to the left, and he's like, I can't move, and then I'm like, one of your wheels ain't turning. I think your shit's broken, and he goes, never mind, I fixed it, and I'm like, it's no, you didn't. Somehow we still managed to move the car with it one wheel messed up,
Can I
but
give
now we can't
context?
get out, right?
So as dumb as I sound right there, you gotta think that like in my mindset, I'm like, I'm doing everything in my willpower to say that I'm getting on the road. So like I'm telling myself I fixed it or like there's no problems because I don't know if I can handle another issue and this stupid weekend in Iowa.
Well, guess what, Keegan? There is one. We can't get out onto the road now because it's
Because
too big of a camber. So then we're like, all right, we have no traction. What we doing? And I'm like, yo, we still got those flaming hot Doritos. We crush them up, put them under the tires, right? And that gets us a little bit more on. But now, like his still his what's it called? His tire axle rod is still like not turning. So like
yeah,
we have to call another towing company. And we're like, we wish we kept that other Uber guy with us because he could have just like winched us out. But then they call him and they're like, turn your wheel. And we're like, all right, it's turned.
yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's broken. So then
He's like, luckily I know a guy
down the
who has a
road.
shop down the road, and he should be able to get you guys on the road. Meanwhile, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, we just wasted that whole bag of Doritos.
Yeah, we
Now,
got no food.
to be fair,
I'm
though, we probably made
starving.
towing a lot easier for them.
Oh yeah, we helped them
For
out.
sure. For sure.
But
Because it was perpendicular to the road.
we get
They
to
should have
that
paid
little
us.
towing company. You want payment? We get to that
That's
little
a lot.
towing company, and then like this guy's like, "What the hell are you doing here in Waterloo?" And
Waterloo.
we're like track meet, or Keegan's like track meet, like
I'm so
he's
pissed.
upset.
I'm like, why are you trying to make small talk right now, dude? Just drive. Just get me to the fucking place.
Oh man,
We finally get there, and it's like your mom and pop like automotive shop. They have like a store dog kind of place. And he's like, well, we'll take a look, but no promises. That's always the first one. Like, no problems, we get you on the road.
That is not what we need
But
to hear.
yeah, which I'm kind of glad he didn't like build up, like, because it would have been devastating to be like, you can't. But he's like, I'll give you guys a loaner car. You guys can go get some food. It's gonna be a while. And I was like, shit. And he's like, we got to replace your tie rod, but we want to make sure that's the right thing. Get the parts, blah blah blah.
And we
We'll
were
call you when it's.
hungry.
And I mean,
And
this is
we
like
were working from home this whole time.
it's 4 p.m. It's
Was it
definitely
4
like
p.m.? No, like we were,
yeah,
it was only like lunchtime because I remember we were at Panera for a significant amount of time
okay.
with the rental car, and I was like trying to do a little bit of work so I didn't just
So,
like waste a day of PTO.
so I'm sitting there, and this is the point where like the laughing and stuff is ended. Like, this isn't fun anymore. We had our fun last night. That was a great bonding experience. I'm pissed. So then I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this dude better call me in the next like 15, 20 minutes because I'm about to lose my shit if I
He
have to
was
wait here
really
much
worried
longer.
about that part availability.
And because then I'm thinking, like, do I need to tell this Airbnb host I'm going to be here another night? He calls me and he goes, good news, bad news. What do you want to hear first? And I'm like, I want to hear the
Bad
bad news.
news.
He's like, I'm out of the part you need. And I was like, how is there good news? My man, you over here, I don't need the thing you need. And he goes, good news is I believe my like friend that has another out of body shop in town has that part and we can fix it. And if he has it, we can get you on the road within the next couple hours. And I was like, okay. If not, bad news scenario, he doesn't have that. What am I looking at? He's like, couple day delivery to get that part you need. And I'm like, I'm gonna be here till Wednesday. So I'm thinking through my head, I'm like, well, if he doesn't have it, this might be the worst. It is the worst, but I'm thinking through my head, I'm like, this might be the epitome of myself. Like, it's just the worst. Luckily, in the next 30 minutes, he calls me. He's like, he's got one part left for it. And I was like, you don't have to tell me one left. Like, because I'm like happy and all, but like in my head, I'm like, don't break it, please. There's no backup. So I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the loaner and everything like that. So then like the next hour or so, he says, you guys can come back. And we came back and like small talk, whatever. In my head, I'm thinking I'm like the biggest dick alive because I'm like not like waving like small talk. I don't care. Until he shows me the one thing that like made me feel better that was like small talk wise was he's like, did you see how big the snowdrifts got though last night? Like I was like, yeah, I hit one. And he's like, no. He's like, no. He showed me a picture and he's like, this is what it like all hit to me why they couldn't get to my car. And it's because they're dealing with snowdrifts that are like 6-7 feet tall, like above a human being. Like I'm like, why do you guys live here? Like
Yeah,
where snow
get
gets this
out,
bad?
man.
So then I'm like, all right. I'm like, so where is my car? Because they said it was fixed. He's like, well, he's just making sure everything is aligned because we had to realign your tires and all that stuff and all this stuff. And I'm like, cool, glad. Let's like wrap this up. I see my car pull around and it's driving. And it's the first time I've seen it driven in a few days. I'm like, yes.
There he goes.
I get behind the seat and I'm like, I don't want to drive. I really
No,
don't want to drive.
you did though, because
I
I
did.
offered to drive it and you were like, I think I'll take it for a little bit. I think you were just excited to like have the car back.
Yeah,
And you
but then
had
I'm
trust issues, I think. Which
yeah,
is
a little
fair.
bit.
So I was like, yeah, all right. You go ahead.
So then we're finally back on the road. We're heading back, and that like ends once we left Iowa. I just remember thinking about him like I'm never going back to Iowa ever.
Yeah.
Like
You
The
were like,
state's
if
dead
I
to
had to
me.
go to Minnesota, I am flying. I am not going through. Well, we had to go like, let's say that Iowa was here and then Kansas City's like over here. Normally you would take this little weaseling road to get down. Like we went the long way back on the interstate and then all the way over, which would have taken like an additional hour and a half. So it was like more like a 6.5 hour drive home. And it was like rough. And on the way out, we saw like 40 to 50 cars
Easily.
in ditches, just like still on the
Easily.
on the interstate. And I was
Yeah,
like,
you kept making those jokes like that could have been you. That's your car.
and you were just like too soon, too soon. But the funny thing was like I always joked like Iowa people can't drive, and I I don't know what's with y'all, but you'll have some nice roads, but I will
Real
drive
nice.
there through Iowa in the summer and I still see people in ditches. Like there'd be like a truck on the ditch and like a semi and then like other cars in the middle in the median and it's like I don't know what's going on with you guys. Like when I drove back from Kansas City, I drove through Iowa and I counted 13 cars in ditches and like 7 semis. And I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, it was
text
like
me
a
that.
dusting.
You texted me that. You're like, yeah, yeah, they still can't drive.
Like
A year later, they
I
still can't.
don't even understand. So yeah, Keegan hates Iowa. He's never going back. But
And like I even said, like if my kid runs indoor track in that conference, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I'll be in, I'll be in Cedar Falls. You want to come see me race?" I'll be like, "Sorry, not coming. Good
just
luck.
like a fat nah.
I'll watch the conference like online. Hope you win. Good luck."
What a good dad. What a great
Anywhere
dad.
else, anywhere else. Plus, like, let's be real. A kid from my gene pool is not gonna be a track athlete.
You never know. You never know.
Okay.
Or you get when Uncle T comes and coaches him, man.
He's like, those are your dad. Run.
but, but the funniest thing to me though was how well everything went for you, which is a weird thing to say, right? Because your dad was the one that reminded you, yo, you were stuck in the middle of nowhere, like white out, like somebody could have smashed your car, somebody could have not come by, you could have been stranded for 9 hours, right? Then you make it back, and then now you get a free Airbnb, your car gets towed, and they have the last part in stock. You had your boy to stay with you,
Yeah.
and we made it home safe. Like it was like the most blessed you could have been out of a shitty situation. So like I was like, thank God we made it home because I was questioning for a bit. I was like, we live here now. That was the joke I kept making. I
Oh,
almost forgot. I kept saying that the whole weekend. We live here now.
and I felt so bad because it was kind of funny, but like I would just be like, dude, I can't be hearing this right now. Like you're making all the jokes that'll be funny in a year, like now, but then
Oh,
we're
bro, they were
pissing
funny the
you.
next day when when I called you at work and I was like, "Yo, so about that Iowa trip?" You just started laughing. You're like, "I mean, we're home now. I'm never going back. I can laugh at it."
Oh.
So yeah, Iowa
Hefty.
is kind
Man,
of
first
a bunk state in the winter.
it is just a bunk state. Oh man. First video podcast, first episode
How do
on
you
YouTube.
feel? I'm tired right now because it's kind of late. We've done a couple takes of this, just so you people are aware, and a little bit of cut and chop and redo, but it's a little bit late. I've yawned a couple times, as people can see me stifling them on the cam now.
Well, like this story's hefty though. To get through it is hefty. So
Hopefully we didn't bore you. I hope it was entertaining. Cause like there are some lulls, but they're kind of like necessary information to know like the full extent. So
it's okay. Next week we'll talk about some Baldur's Gate 3 that came out, some reveals on that, some gameplay. We'll go back to video games, IT, working in tech.
Keegan still doesn't know our intro. Just a little
I
disclaimer.
totally messed
I
that up,
have
and I was
to
like, all
I
right,
have to
well,
tell him the intro tagline every time. And we take about like
we're
10
gonna
takes before he nails it.
we're gonna release definitely some blooper reels of just me just whiffing on the intro.
But the funny thing is, my innate reaction to every time you do it correctly, I just want to say you nailed it because you finally nailed it after like the 10th
And
attempt.
then we just ruined that take.
Yeah, so then it's like, all right, we got to do it again. So, I don't know. But we are here on YouTube. Hopefully, we can figure out Keegan's lighting situation because it ain't looking too great. We turned
Yeah,
on some more
I
lights and then he turned into a ghost. And then we turned up like the whole green screen thing and he like literally disappeared. So we'll figure it out. But
eventually like, subscribe.
Keegan is gonna make us a Facebook.
I keep doing this shit where like I just think we're gonna have it in post.
Keegan, we have a couple of things. Keegan has a Facebook he's gonna make. You can see like our stuff has been circling up in the corner a couple times. Hit us up there. I don't know how we're gonna use it other than probably promoting our channel through Instagram because they require you to have a Facebook, which is weird.
Facebook buying Instagram was such a big L.
But hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Dark Mode Podcast like you do. And stay pumped for the rest of our
Yeah.
future. We have an
See you in the
email
next
too.
one.
We have an email. Don't forget about that.
At Dark Mode Podcast.
Keegan likes to say people will be emailing us, but nobody does because email's
Dude,
dead.
you're getting so many emails these days.
No. No, we do not. Keegan is no longer ugly after the posting of this video. As far as his retaliation, he could
Oh.
not say it before, right?
I didn't know if you were gonna actually just like leave it at that.
No. He told me that for a year after Iowa, it was undisputably that he was ugly. Like I would just call it to him, then he would say nothing.
It is valid.
But he wouldn't always undispute. So now, there was times where you're like, "No, dude, not today," and I'm
I
like,
catch myself.
"Yes,
though.
today, cause Iowa." But now that it's been a year, I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna just call you way more. So
Oh no!
to balance
you call
it
me
out.
enough. It's at least 6 times a day.
Maybe not on
Yeah.
camera, because I mean, obviously, people are gonna find that annoying. If I'm just out here like you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly.
I don't know. I mean, it's our podcast. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
We had to satisfy people, Keegan, not just us.
No. Sorry, viewers. I don't care.
I think you do. All right. So thanks for listening and viewing. We'll be doing more. We'll catch you in the next one.
Catching, yeah, next one.